Howdy guys, hope you're all having a fantastic day! Now, that riff that you just heard there was one that was just so awesome to come up with, because it's a technique which has been absolutely transforming my playing for about a year now. And that happened because I had the opportunity to sit down with a guy called George Lynch and have a guitar lesson with him, which was last December, I think. November, December. Anyways, it was around that time. It was when Lynch Mob played in London last year. I think it was December. Man, my memory's just... I'm getting old. I'm getting old. Look, great. Memory's just going. Anywho, when I was sitting down with him, one of the things that really popped out from his playing and just watching him play and listening and kind of just absorbing what he was doing was just how much George uses outside notes. And this is something that I've been experimenting with a little bit, kind of now and then, but especially with my lead playing, because I use a lot of melodic minor in my playing, and I like to use different modes in order to create different feels and moods and things like that. So with my lead playing I used to do it, but with my rhythm playing it was still very stuck within the scale or whatever I was playing, so I didn't really veer outside. When I started to see what he did, it was pretty genius how everything was available to him, and it started to really transform the way I thought about rhythm and playing, and so it has helped me to come up with riffs like the one you just heard and the one I'm just about to show you how to play and why I played the notes that I did, which was partly experimentation and it was partly that thought process of, actually this note isn't supposed to be here, but I'm going to put it in because it sounds cool and it kind of has a really good vibe about it. So stick around if you would like to see how I do that. In fact, I'm going to do it now. I'm going to do it now. I'm going to show you now. Yeah! And remember, make music, not war. Love this t-shirt. You can't see the whole of it. Anyways, you'll see it when I'm doing the playthrough. So I have my telly here. Let's plug in and let's get going. Yeah! Just wanted to give a quick shout out for the gear that I'm using today. I have this little mini rig going, which I call my Friedman BE Micro, because I am now using this, the Hotone Loudster amplifier. Now this is a 75 watt solid state amp, and together with my Friedman BE OD pedal and my Strymon Capistan, I've basically got a mini rig, which is just awesome. You'll hear it in a second. It sounds incredible! Anyways, just wanted to give a shout out to Friedman Amplification and Dave Friedman and Rob as well. Thank you so much, guys, for awesome pedals. Strymon for this beautiful Capistan delay pedal. I love this. It's a tape echo emulation, just the best that I've used. And Hotone for this piece of awesomeness, 75 watts worth of power. Alrighty, let's get going with the lesson. Yay! Now, how good does that sound? Alright, I have my telly plugged into that tiny little rig that I just showed you, and it sounds ridiculous! I absolutely love it, and it feels really good to play. I don't know if this comes across on the camera, but it just feels like I'm plugged into a tiny little tube amp, and it's just a lovely goodness coming out of my speaker cab there. And I'll flash up the signal chain right down here, so that you can see what I was using. Alrighty, so outside notes. Now, when I played this riff, I was playing it in the key of E. I'm tuned down half a step, so technically it's D sharp or E flat, but I'm just going to call it E. I'll turn down my delay. There we go, turn down. I still like to have a little bit of delay in there. Anyways, I'm playing in the key of E. And obviously, you know, when we play the key, in the key of E minor, like I've just done, there are certain notes that I play within the scale, and those notes are E, F sharp, G, A, B, C, D, and then E again. The thing is, we've got all of these notes which are in between. So I've got the F, I have the G sharp as well, nice G sharp 7 chord, I think that is, and got the A, and then I've got the A sharp as well. And obviously the B and the C are in the scale, but the C sharp isn't. And we also have the D sharp there. And you know, usually when we're kind of playing rock music, we just stick with the notes which are within the scale to create the chords. Now, one of the things I've noticed that some players do is to use the notes which are in between. And you know, well, one of the bands that I really like to listen to is Primus, and they're kind of, you know, if you've heard Primus, you know what I'm talking about. they try and find the middle notes all the time. But you know, George does this as well. And like I said, when I was sitting down with him, I noticed it a lot more because I was, you know, just sitting right next to him, watching his fingers doing his thing. So when I came up with this this little riff, I was pretty intent on using some of those middle notes. And the first one that popped out was this C sharp on the A string. Now, when I start off the riff, I'm basically, you know, playing from the G to the E, and then on the A string, I'm actually going from the D to the E, which I'll show you in a second. But after that, what I'm doing is I'm actually sliding from the C to the C sharp. And that's my middle note, my kind of almost outside of the scale note. But you can make it work, and I'll show you one of the tricks that I've learned to use in order to do this, especially in the context of if you want to kind of write in the style of like George Lynch or somebody like that. So I'll walk you through that first section which I've just played. So initially I'm doing this. So I'm playing from the G here, which is the 3rd fret of the E string. So I'm playing it and then pulling off to the 0 and then chugging the open E string twice. So I'm pulling off from 3 to 0 on the E string, chugging on the low E string twice again. And then what I do is I'm picking the 5th fret of the A string, and I'm using my pinky for this. And then I'm sliding over to the 7, which is sliding over to a root note again, and just going over to another E. Now when I get here, I'm actually doing a full step bend up. That's significant as well, because rather than it just being the note, which kind of fits right into the pocket of the song, I kind of take it slightly outside of the pocket. So I'm kind of almost detuning it a little bit so that it's sounding slightly outside, and that gives it a certain vibe. Alright, so that's our first move. So then on the repeat, what I do is I use that C sharp note. So I'm doing this. So I'm starting off with that pull off again, 3rd fret of the E string to the open E string. And then I do a chug on the E string as well. Now this chug, rather than being a, is just literally just a spacer. I kind of just think of it as a spacer. All I'm doing is I'm doing something rhythmic in order to kind of, you know, put a beat in it. Which is why you hear the rather than a. Alrighty. After that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick the 3rd fret of the A string, slide over to the 4th fret of the A string, and then pick the open G string. Right after that, I'm going to come back to the 4th fret of the A string, pick it, and then pull off to 0. So when I add it together, we get that. Now this open G string is quite significant because George uses it in his playing quite a lot, just going to that note. And you can get a really kind of, you know, Lynch-y kind of vibe when you do that. What I'm doing is I'm playing like, you know, single notes, like I did the E, the G, the C, and then over to the A sharp. And that G basically kind of creates our chord, which is uber cool and something I have been doing for many moves. Alrighty, so that's our first part. How good does this thing sound? It just, anyways, it's distracting me because it sounds so good. Alrighty, so I'm then going to do this. So I'm going to start off pretty much the same. Then on the repeat, I'm going to do something different. I'm going to do this. This time I'm starting off on the 5th fret of the A string and then going to the open G. Then I'm coming back 1 fret, so I'm coming to the C sharp note again. And what I'm going to do is pick the 4th fret of the A, open G, and then I'm going to repeat that. The 4th fret of the A and the open G again. So again, we've got the outside note thing going, we've got that C sharp going. Which kind of gives it a really cool vibe. Alrighty, then this is what I do. So starting off in the same way. Then I do this. So this time what I'm doing is I'm picking at the 3rd fret of the E string, pulling off to 0, doing a chug, and then I'm repeating that same pattern. 3rd fret of the E string, pulling off to 0, and then doing a chug. This time I'm going to do 2 chords. So these are kind of partial chords. So what I'm doing is initially I'm doing a partial G chord, which is going to be the 5th fret of the A string, 5th fret of the D string. So essentially I'm just playing the 5th and the root. I'm playing the higher root. So rather than doing that, I'm basically just playing the chord without the lower root in there. So it's going to be 5/5, A string, D string, and then I'm going to come back to the 4th fret of the A string. So I'm playing 4th fret of the A, 5th fret of the D. So fitting that in. Now when you're doing this pull-off thing, it's important to kind of do the pull-off open, but then do the chug as a closed. Again, this is just a dynamics thing. You know, it basically creates this kind of roller coaster effect where you've got the note in, then it drops out, and then it comes back in. And that's what kind of provides dynamics in playing. When you hear really good players using lots of dynamics, someone like Andy Timmons, he's amazing for doing stuff like this. You'll hear it all the time. You'll see how Here he actually kind of, you know, modulates the notes and the volumes with muting and things like that, and just picking and etc, etc. It's absolute genius how he does it. Alright, now we're going to get on to the fourth part, which starts off the same, and then I'm going to finish off like this. So again, I'm using that open G string. So I'm starting off on the 5th fret of the A string and the G string, going to the 4th fret of the A string, open G, and then I'm going over to the 3rd fret, which is our C note, which is the note we were supposed to play, or I was supposed to play, instead of the C sharp. So I'm just walking my fingers down here, literally just fretting one note and using that open G string to create my chord. And that's the whole of that pattern, that's the whole of that riff. And there you go, there's the whole of that. Now, like I said, you can use that open G string across multiple notes, and it kind of creates chords. And I like to do this walking down thing. And I can actually keep going from there. Create some really cool effects with that. So there you go, guys. There is the technique which is absolutely transforming my playing and thinking. It's a really cool one to use. Use it in your playing, enjoy it. I would love to hear from you what you thought of it, and also how you're going to use it in your playing. So leave a comment and let me know, because I would love to hear from you. And remember to sub to the channel and give it a thumbs up as well. It's much appreciated. I will see you again soon for another really cool video. In the meantime, have an incredible day. And here's the playthrough again. You know you want to listen to this riff. You know you want to learn this riff. You can download the tab from the link in the description box. Have a great day. Bye!